second, everybody. Anita, what does that... Rab and Anita, wait there a second. Wait, please, relax. Anita, can I just ask you, what has that got to do with the extradition? I'm still trying to find out the link.
I agree. What I'm saying is they're making it into a bigger picture in saying that it's anti-Muslim and Anita is anti-Muslim. I find that unacceptable.
Rab, be quiet for a second.
I know we're having a debate about that, but they have made it into a wider, what should I say, a wider...
Wait a minute, can you understand why when two people who suffer from Asperger's, two people who are regarded as suicide threats, one gets to stay in the UK and the other one goes to a maximum security prison in America?
The allegations were different, the cases were different.
Yeah, okay, wait a minute, stop there for a second. Rab, why can't you accept that it's because the allegations were different?
Because
it's nothing to do with their religion.
We're not talking about the allegations.
Well, we have to talk about the allegations. You can't ignore the allegations. That's the whole point. He's been extradited.
Nihal, I'm trying to say something here, and let me finish. You know, America specifically requested this guy for the past 10 years that they've been wanting him, yeah? Why is it, right, that they felt they could deal with him here in this country? We're not talking about allegation because there's
you have to talk about... Rab, how can you possibly ignore the charges that are put against them?
What I'm trying to say to you, there is a law that can deal with both the suspects in this country. So why is it that one they give away without dealing with him in this country, and why is it that one can build out within this country?
Because the charges are different. Because the charges are different.
And they've been dealt with on television.
Wait a minute, one person wasn't providing assistance, allegedly, via websites for the Taliban.
So are you saying that we haven't, in this country, got a law to cover something like that?
Well, the Americans feel as though, because the servers were American servers, that, and of course... it was against American interest that they have a right to try this person in America.
But they have a right to do so. You know, also...
And we have deals with different countries, Rob, about
I know that, but also America was asking for the same guy as well because they felt they could deal with him. Why is it that they bent down for one person and they didn't bend down for the other person? One was not a Muslim and one was a Muslim. That's the difference.
Okay.
No, hang on 1 minute, Nihal. I just want to make one more point before I go. Yeah?
Go on.
The one point that I will like to make here is by Theresa May allowing this to happen, she has caused a big problem. It's because, you know, people are going to take things into their own hand. And this is what I was scared of. That's why I said in the first place, last couple of weeks ago, that we should deal with this in this country.
Explain what you mean by that.
In this country.
Explain what you mean by taking it into their own hands.
Well, people are going to think, well, there's no point involving the law in anything anymore because, you know, the law's not going to be on our side. If, for example, one Muslim person has a fight with a non-Muslim person, right? They're not going to even bother phoning the police, for example. They're going to think, you know what, it's not worth it because, you know, they're going to go on the other person's side. They're not going to, you know, look at us equally. I've lived in this country 42 years. I've always considered myself as a person of this country. But after hearing and seeing things like this, I'm starting to doubt whether it's worth living in this country.
Okay, thank you.
You don't do anything that would bring you to this point.
Okay, thank you. Let's speak to Suleiman. Good afternoon, Suleiman.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, wow, what a situation. Well, firstly, I would like to say I don't believe that extraditing for both men should have existed in the first place because the crimes were both committed in this country, and I think this country has a good law system, good court system. Her Majesty is one of the best systems to work in the world. And I think they're both got tried in this country, they both got sentenced in this country. I think that should be the end of it. It should be whatever country they commit the crime in, they should deal with it in that country. And I think, all right, I understand it had a bit to do with America, whatever, but this relates back to, I don't know if you remember the story about the Tipton boys, Guantanamo Bay. 3 innocent people were caught in the middle of nowhere and they were taken into Guantanamo Bay, which was not even human-friendly. And it was in Cuba where no international law existed, which was an American camp. And why should these camps even exist in the first place? It's not in America because it goes against their judiciary reviews. However, Cuba don't have them international laws, so America decides to build it in Cuba. I think that's a bit hypocrisy on them terms, and especially with Great Britain focusing on extraditing people to America. which shows them as weaker than America in certain terms, shows them that they're not compatible, they're not competent, and they're not able to withdraw results from their judiciary system, which I think is a poor evaluation of the British judiciary system. And this comes back regarding Muslim or not Muslim. I think it's a very, very media-orientated view from a lot of people, because me personally, when I was I'm British born, I went to school, I'm a Muslim, I went to school and I was in year 7, and in year 7, for English, we had to do this, it's like an advert for Levi's jeans, and at that time, it's 2001, at that time, everything on the news was regarding 9/11, and at that time, I decided I had to make an advert for jeans which were unrippable, unbreakable in sense. So I decided that because everything, I was only 11 years old, everything I saw in the news, that's all I was watching, because that's all that was over the news. I decided to make 2 towers in my advert, a plane hitting them buildings, and the jeans coming out, everything else destroyed apart from jeans. And it was, well, if you look at it creatively, it was a good idea from what I was seeing. But a lot of people didn't find it as a good idea and found out I was anti-American and such like that, which I think I was a kid of 11 years old. Whatever's put in front of me, that is what I'm going to learn. Whatever is put in front of me, whatever is shown to me, that's going to be my view. And I wasn't shown the pros and cons or the conspiracies at that time. I was only shown what I was shown on every single channel at that time, and that precise minute was 9/11. So I would go home that week for the whole week, and all that was on TV was 9/11. So I made that advert, and a lot of people, they didn't like the advert, or some people did like the creativity. But school people called my father into school and decided to talk to him in regards to why I'm so anti-American. My father turned around and goes, "How could a kid of 11 years old be anti-American?" I mean, it's ridiculous. And for something like that, I think it comes involved with the people that were talking earlier, Anita, and I don't know the other guy's name. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. A lot of people have opinions on Muslims. A beard, if somebody sees a person with a beard, they assume him to be a terrorist. I mean, it's not right, but everybody judges, everybody has assumptions. And where do all these assumptions come from? It comes from the media. And when, especially stuff like this extradition, for example, you got 2 different stories from 2 different calibers, and you're treating them both differently. I think there would be a lot of speculation is why are they favouring one over the other when the crime was committed in this country. This country has a very good judiciary system. It is known to be equal, and I think it should have been dealt with in this country.
Okay, Suleiman, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for that. Hamja, one last point from you. How is your brother?
And we actually haven't heard anything from him. Like, he's been sent to solitary confinement in America, where half all prison suicides take place whilst being a suicide risk. We've heard nothing from him. We haven't even had a phone call. We weren't even allowed to say goodbye to him. I saw a plane on the news, and that's the last I saw of my brother. And I'd already booked to visit him on Sunday. And I can't describe the level of pain and agony and nightmare my family are going through. And I want to just say, Talha's never been found guilty of anything. And if you had the pleasure of knowing him, and I've grown up with him and spent, shared a bunk bed with him and speak to him every day, Talha's not a terrorist, and he's not a dangerous person. He had a job interview to be a librarian on the day of his arrest, and that's about as dangerous as he is.
Did he have sympathies in terms of the Taliban and what they were doing?
Talha's not a cheerleader for the Taliban. He used to campaign for the Guantanamo Bay detainees. In fact, he's a very principled person. He taught me about the Black Death in police custody, not just Muslim things. He feels for Hillsborough, he feels for many other causes, environmental causes and things like that. You shouldn't, demonise some. It's easy to. People only see some images of some mouthy hothead like Abu Hamza or Ajam Chowdhury on the TV and just assume that's your brother, and they don't know him, and it's not very nice. And it wasn't very nice how the Home Office lumped them all together when Talha's got nothing to do with Abu Hamza. It was so funny because Caroline Lucas in Parliament asked Theresa May this question. She said, what about Talha and Barbara and how unjustly they've been treated? And Theresa May said back to him, Abu Hamza and the others. So it's just absurd.
Okay.
I'd like to just say we've got a really strong non-Muslim support base too. We've got Hindu supporters. We have a Catholic priest called Bruce Kent who supports us. And one of the best articles written about the racial aspects of the case is by a Hindu academic called Nisha Kapoor, which is about to be published in a book called State of Race. And that's a thorough, investigative, fact-driven point, looking at the statements of David Cameron, Lord Carlisle, Theresa May, and how they say one thing for Gary and another thing for Talha. And I'm saying this as someone who supported for Gary McKinnon, who went to every city in the country and campaigned against extradition law.
Okay, Hamja, thank you very much. Hamja Ahsan, the brother of Talha Ahsan. Amar on the text said, I'm a trained lawyer. Let's be objective and analyse two recent events. The abuse towards the Prophet is free speech. The lad who posted Facebook entries about soldiers gets done. This story today, two similar situations, both with the same underlying illness. One extradited, the other not. In court, on the balance of probabilities, we can argue double standards. That's from Amar. Shiraz said both committed offences regardless of the severity of the crime. Both needed to be put on trial. Both wanted by US. One was sent, the other wasn't. In my opinion, justice wasn't served from the UK. Jaya said calling the government racist is just lazy and reeks of a chip on the shoulder mentality. The jihadist was endangering innocent peoples and the hacker was endangering computer networks' classified info. You don't need to be a rocket science to work out who is the greater crime and poses a greater threat. This story is another example of Muslim denial. Don't do the crime if you don't want to do the time. Well, of course, these are alleged offences, so we don't know if he did do the crime, do we? Zaman said, don't get me wrong, I'm happy for this guy. If his name was Abdul McKinnon, he would have been sent there. The law in this country stinks. The bottom line is you have to use your discretion. If a Muslim hacks into USA computers, of course it's going to raise eyebrows. Come on, please. It's all about discretion. 81869, that is the text number. You can also email Nihal at bbc.co.uk. Tell me what you think. Charlie, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, how are you?
I'm very well, sir. Thanks for calling in, Charlie. Is the government extradition policy racist?
Obviously it is. This is a blatant disregard of a human right of one person against the other. And there will always be a two-tier system in this country. Ask the white Caucasian if they will accept a black or an Asian prime minister in this country, and they will say no.
Right, okay. I mean, what about the charges, though, the separate charges? Don't you think that one set of charges is different to the other?
Well, you know, when it comes to law, they can always redefine the charges and make it look as if this guy is a criminal.
Well, they are different charges, though, Charlie.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, the felony is the same.
Well, it does matter, actually. It matters quite a lot.
Yeah, because the felony is the same. Why should the charges be different?
Well, the charges are different, so the crimes they're accused of are different. Therefore, the outcome could be different.
I worked with the police, with the law. I still work, and I know how the system works.
Well, I'm not. With all due respect, I'm not sure you do, because you're ignoring the fact that there are two different charges against these two men.
No, charges can always be drummed up. That's what the problem is. That's where the problem lies. You know.
Well, so they're both innocent, as far as you're concerned.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, if there's expression there.
But Gary McKinnon admitted that he hacked into a US computer, Charlie.
Well, that's all besides the point.
Well, it's hardly beside the point if you're saying that the charges are made up and yet he admitted to doing them.
Yeah.
OK, Charlie, thank you very much indeed for that.